A very warm welcome, everyone, students, professors. We will be starting shortly. Let's just wait for a couple of minutes more.
Am I clear? Arindam, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Very good evening to all. Am I audible?
Shall we start?
Yeah, we can, definitely.
Yeah. So, hello, BSmart viewers. Welcome to yet another edition of our award case study webinar, where we kind of end our monthly award case study contest with some key industry experts and faculty members joining us to give us an insight into the case study that we have dealt with for the month. For this month, we had Zomato as our case study contest, and we are delighted to have with us one of the iconic names in marketing and advertising world, Mr. Ambi Parmeshwaran, the former executive director and CEO of FCB Ulka, and now the founder of brandbuilding.com. At the same time, we also are grateful and honored to have with us Dr. Kumendra Raheja, Professor and Dean of Indira School of Business Studies, PGDM, Pune. Welcome, Mr. Parmeshwaran, and welcome, Dr. Raheja, to this edition of our webinar on Zomato. We just to give you a brief outline of this webinar, after the discussion that we will have with Mr. Parmeshwaran and Mr. Raheja, we will also announce the top 3 winners of this month's case study contest. And we will also give you a sneak peek into the next month's topic that we are putting up for the award case study. So thank you very much for all of you for joining us this evening. And to go over to Mr. Parmeshwaran. Mr. Parmeshwaran, thank you very much for joining us and sparing your time to quickly come to you on this, the whole Zomato issue that you have known about, where Zomato tried to segregate on the ground the delivery of veg and non-veg with color coding, red and their actual red color and with the green, and the whole activity kind of snowballed and became a crisis for them. So very quickly, to understand from you as a brand person, what is your take on this?
Okay, so Arindam, thank you for inviting me to this forum. I think it's wonderful that Business Standard is taking these initiatives to involve B school students in a live, example and a case discussion. I'm happy to be here, and also just to fill in the viewers that I'm also a regular columnist at the Business Standard, and I write on consumer behavior and marketing issues. Okay, now coming to the Zomato issue, what we need to first of all admit is that Zomato is a very smart company. Now, they've been in the business for probably close to 7-8 years. They have access to a lot of information, which none of us have. And they've done some pretty pioneering things in the way they engage with their customers. It is a publicly traded stock. And I think in the last 2 quarters, they've also started making profit. So why do I think they are a smart company? Now, first is that they have a huge amount of data about their consumers. They know where they live. So we keep talking of big data. Now, Zomato is in the position to use that big data. Big data is velocity, which is very fast data, uh, variety, which is different types of data, and volume, large amount of data. In addition to this, Zomato also has timestamp when the people are ordering the food, and they also have geographic stamp. Where are they ordering? So they have a lot of data, and they do a lot of smart things. For example, so they were the first to actually tell the customer, this is your delivery boy, your delivery, what they call delivery partner. Delivery partner is so and so. He's from this village or he's from this town. He's got one son, he's got one daughter, blah, blah, blah. So they actually personalize the delivery person. And I'm told that clicked very well with the customers. Now, in this particular case, I'm a little surprised that they did not test it. Maybe they tested it in some small way, and they got some, because all these digital native companies do a lot of online testing, that they try various options, they try various things before they really roll it out. So one is, I'm sure they may have done some tests. Maybe the test results came in one way, and then when they rolled it out, they didn't anticipate there'll be a huge, backlash in social media. The other important thing, which of course they know, is that we are largely a non-vegetarian country. 95% of Indians eat non-vegetarian food. But the qualifier is, unlike, say, the Chinese or the Americans or the Europeans, we don't eat non-vegetarian every day. Very often, non-vegetarians are eaten only once or twice a week. So we are vegetarian many days of the week, and we are non-vegetarian for those 2 days. But in general, we are a non-vegetarian country. Having said that, there are some building societies in some parts of, even in a city like Mumbai, which is a metropolitan city, which says that we only want vegetarians to live in this building. So we don't want any non-vegetarians to come in and stay in this building. But I think the younger generation is a lot more kind of, willing to try both. At one time, a vegetarian would never enter a non-vegetarian restaurant. But I don't think that kind of a big taboo exists today. That today a vegetarian also goes to a non-vegetarian restaurant and eat, and only the most conservative people don't enter the non-veg restaurant to eat a vegetarian food. But what they tried was something different. And I'm sure they tried it because they wanted, all these companies are competing with each other. So they want to try something which their competitor cannot offer or will take time to offer. So they tried this whole thing about veg delivery team, which will only deliver veg food. And according to them, they felt that some vegetarian customers are upset that veg and non-veg food are being carried in the same box, and this can contaminate each other. Now, I don't know how big a problem that is, because if 95% of the consumers are actually eating non-veg food uh, for maybe 1 or 2 days a week, how are they going to get very upset if, say, a chicken biryani is kept next to a veg biryani and it both are delivered together? I'm not sure. But I would like to caution whatever I'm saying with one important caveat, that Zomato has the information. Zomato knows their customers. Zomato knows who orders what. So I'm a little surprised that they didn't anticipate this backlash, and they rolled it out and they had to roll back. So it comes to me as a surprise more than anything else. Yeah, back to you, Arindam.
Thank you, Ms. Parmeshwaran, for that insight. If I may come in over here, uh, to say that, when we hear about Zomato, a similar situation comes to my mind. In my journalism days when I used to do reporting and all, I remember once KFC had come over, and they were in a kind of a dilemma that how to convince the vegetarian people to sort of try their vegetarian menu, which they were starting off in India at some point. And the dilemma was in a very unique way. They were saying that, look, we are known as Kentucky Fried Chicken, but how do we sort of go ahead and talk about our vegetarian menu because the brand name itself has that chicken in it. So there was a big dilemma, and I think globally they also sort of saw that, and they slowly, if you see, they went on to harp on the fact that, and they really moved away from spelling out that entire Kentucky Fried Chicken to say just KFC, KFC, KFC. So the communications sort of happened in such a way that KFC got stuck in people's mind, and people just sort of, forgot that, okay, there's a chicken in it also. And today, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, they can just walk in at ease and whenever, and they don't even see whether there is a separate kitchen for vegetarians or separate kitchen for non-vegetarians and all those things. So that reminded me to go to Dr. Raheja. Sir, you tell me, what is your take on this, like this whole Zomato issue?
Thanks, Arindam. Thanks for inviting me to be a part of this, and of course, be a part of the panel where Mr. Ambi Pandishwaran, of course, a very well-known personality in the field of advertising. Thank you so much for your views. I think I completely agree with Mr. Ambi when he said that Zomato is a very smart company. Yes, treasure trove of information available to them. But the only challenge that I see in the entire communication, which very rightly put by Mr. Ambi, is comes as a surprise. Now, to be very frank with you, I think let us go to the bottom of understanding why even Zomato thought about having the veg fleet or the option of providing veg food specifically from the veg restaurants. Now, I'm just going by the figure the data is quoted by Mr. Ambi when he said 95% of us are non-vegetarians, right? Which means there is a very small population who eats vegetarian food and is also particular about wanting to, get it from the restaurants which are pure veg restaurants, for that matter. Very small percentage. So of course, to me, it comes as a surprise. And we talk about, when we talk about something like this, we all are essentially talking about business, dhanda, right? So anybody who's a new age company has been driven on the sentiments of millennials and zennials for that matter, and has built their company basis, their larger, customer base being in the age group of say 25 to 35. We are talking about catering to the sentiments which possibly are, little, I'm sorry for using this word, little outdated. So I'm just talking about making sure that there is a very small market that is available to Zomato in terms of catering to that, catering to that segment. That is one part of it. Second, let us look at this. Even if the intent was to cater to the segment, there is no harm. I think there is always this feeling inside an entrepreneur that I would want to meet every possible need in the market. Although we begin with the very basic sentiment related to marketing that not all meats can be served satisfactorily by a single marketer. Possibly, I think Dipinder here thought that this is one need, and I think being into restaurant business or being into food business, it is maybe a moral responsibility to cater to this need. But what was more surprising is that if we wanted to do it, we could have done it without having to let the world know that we are doing it, because the intent was to make sure that we are able to satisfy that need. Now, so long as that need is satisfied, and the people, those who are being benefited by this particular feature within the app of Zomato, where you opt for veg food from veg restaurants, so long as that is happening, possibly you won the hearts of the people, and all that, that your business will grow from there. Now, a brazen, display of this fact, saying that veg fleet. Now, I'm just going back to the boardrooms there, right? I think this is a country which is crisscrossing. There are a lot of people go to a lot of other places to stay. We have pockets which are, purely veg pockets. We go to Rajasthan. We talk about, you go to Gujarat for that matter. Purely, hardcore vegetarian belts for that matter. Similarly, a lot of people, those who are vegetarian, travel to different parts of the country, stay as a tenant in different parts of the country, and of course, those challenges would have always come, wherein you having to make a bold statement that I'm a non-vegetarian because I am now getting the food delivered by a red fleet, and vegetarian because of food being delivered by a green fleet. So in my contention, I think this was very much doable at the operational level. I'm sure being a smart company, they could have definitely thought about ensuring that keeping the fleet same right? They could have had some internal identification of ensuring that this kind of fleet would carry veg food only, and this kind of fleet would carry non-veg food only. This might sound prescriptive, but I think that was the bare minimum expected from a company like Zomato, and which is where I feel that they had to really do that kind of thinking through before they kind of made it public, and they should have pre-thought of maybe a possible backlash that might happen. So this is where I think Zomato possibly could have handled it in a better fashion. Nothing wrong in meeting all the needs, nothing wrong in ensuring that unmet need is taken care of, but how smartly, how beautifully we are able to take care of it without ruffling feathers is where genius of marketing lies in. So that's what my take is on this. And back to you, Arindam.
So, Dr. Rajan, you're saying that uh, probably there has been an issue, or probably Zomato didn't get it right when they wanted to communicate it properly. The communication was probably could have been done more tacitly, or could have been, or needn't have been done. Kind of no
Right.
broadcast needed to be done.
When,
Probably,
when I
they
when I
could have
said
just.
that, yeah, when I said that, what I mean is the moment, the bare minimum reason for launching the service to meet a need, right? Now, so long as if you are able to highlight a feature that allows you to do what you can within Zomato, isn't that a very simple yet subtle communication to the people who would want to avail that service? And and by the passage of time, right? So instead of saying that we are creating a whole spectacle of the people who would deliver veg food, all I'm saying is go to my app. There you get an option of selecting veg food only from veg restaurant, and then start that service and add that as a feature. Now, so long as it is a feature, it doesn't interfere with anybody's personal preferences. One. Secondly, being a company that is absolutely data driven company, possibly they could have looked at what is coming through this kind of feature that they've launched for a period of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and basis the data made available to them, they could have decided of maybe a bigger splash at that point in time, maybe something in a different fashion altogether. But maybe when I said a communication debacle was to make it absolutely spectacle to begin with. I wanted, in my opinion, could have been a little more subtle. Like I just said, activate a feature, let people know there's a feature, and then play around with the data that you collect over a period of time.
Okay. Mr. Parmeshwaran, what do you think? Could have been, the communication could have been done differently, or advertising, or what?
No, I think Professor Raheja is very right. Uh, Zomato could have easily, Zomato one knows who is ordering what. So if they know this customer always orders veg food, he never orders non-veg food, chances are he may be a hardcore vegetarian. So I would therefore say, look, I could have done the whole communication on a one-on-one basis.
One-on-one basis,
So
right?
you're vegetarian, you order vegetarian food. So here is a new feature for you. We are creating a veg-only delivery service. So these delivery people pick up only veg food, and they deliver only from pure veg restaurants. So your food will come veg to you. What do you think? You think it's a great feature? I don't know. Maybe, are you willing to pay extra for this? Will you pay extra? Those are things which are experiments which maybe Zomato did try out. Okay, but we don't know what the results were. But doing this big, they'll now be dressed in green and green fleet and all that, seemed a bit like a PR drama. Okay, which they got it kind of backfired on them. Probably they thought it'll work given the mood of the nation. They thought it'll work for them. But the truth is, I said 95%. Maybe the number is not 95. Maybe it's 80%, 85% is non-vegetarian. Right? Like what Professor Raja said, Rajasthan is heavily vegetarian. A large part of Gujarat is heavily vegetarian, but the rest of India is really non-vegetarian. So maybe 80% are non-vegetarian. So they probably thought they will get a huge kind of a tailwind people saying, ye bahut acha hai, it's good for our country and all that stuff, but it worked against them. There is also, as you know, a vegan movement that, there are some people who say, no, we should not eat anything animal oriented. So maybe they'll create a vegan fleet next, right? I don't know. But the point is, I totally agree with what, Professor Raija said. They could have done it differently. Fundamentally, there is nothing wrong if it is financially viable. There's nothing wrong in creating a veg fleet which delivers food from pure veg restaurants to pure veg customers. Obviously,
Right.
this has to work within the economics, that it's not as if, that you'll go and deliver something 10 kilometers away, but, one masal dosa, right? And you're going to lose money on that. But if there is a sizable pocket of veg customers in a particular area, they order only veg food from a few veg restaurants, and it is financially viable for you to create that fleet, go ahead and do it. But tom-tomming it as a green fleet, blah, 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 maybe they underestimated or they overestimated the power of vegetarianism in this country. Maybe it is not that strong. And I think the backlash they got was it uh, because people thought that, what is this drama? Or people thought that this is the wrong thing to propagate, that you're already creating enough divides. If you remember, there was, I don't know, it was Zomato or Swiggy, when some customer made a comment about a person from a different religious group delivering this food, I don't want him. And I think either Zomato or Swiggy, I don't know who it was, came back hard on the customer, right? Saying that, sorry, we will not distinguish on the basis of caste, creed, or religion, right? So
Right, yes.
probably they thought something like that could happen. Maybe they miscalculated.
So,
In
if
fact,
I
just
may
would like to
quickly,
add another point here. In fact,
yes,
when you
yes,
talk about when Mr. Ami said that from a particular faith. In fact, this could go. I'm just extending the argument. See, today you're talking about creating a veg fleet. So somebody is wearing clothes, green clothes. Does it mean that that person is really eligible to deliver, veg food? Are we going to look at the preferences, the eating preferences of the individual who's going to deliver? What all that that the entire veg fleet, 90% of them are non-veg eaters. For that. So I'm just extending. There is no end to this argument, and there's no end to this, logic for that matter. So from that perspective, I thought it's, yeah. Please go on.
No, I think the point you're saying is valid. No, so it is. We have not thought about it, but it is, in some kind of a, random thing. It could even be a gimmick they've tried to get, some discussion around it. Like, for example, we are discussing this here, right?
right, yes.
It could be just a
Yeah,
gimmick.
so they say that even negative advertising, negative publicity is also still publicity. There is a lot
Any
of
publicity is good
attraction.
publicity. The fact that we are
Good
talking about
publicity. Yeah,
Zomato and not
yeah.
talking about Swiggy is
Swiggy,
something in
yes.
their favor,
Yeah.
right? So they may say, look, let us float this balloon of this green fleet. If there is a negative backlash, we'll quickly say we are not launching it.
Yeah.
And if there is positive, then we'll actually launch it. So it is just a balloon we are floating.
And
So we
that way,
don't
then
even know whether it
Zomato
was a
seems to be
balloon.
very.
Did they
If Zomato
really have
thought
a
about it,
fleet? Did
yeah.
they really have a fleet of 100 people, 200 people? In which city did they do it? I haven't seen anyone.
Mm. Now, if that is the case, then I would say Zomato is really, really very smart company, making sure that everybody's mind is hammered with Zomato. And then every time that I think of, in fact, there is one more thing. I mean, when you just said this, I think what I think possibly creating a positive sentiment in the mind of the customer. Maybe the fleet didn't work. Maybe I had to rescind the decision I took. But what goes in the mind of the consumer essentially is that this company who even at the cost of business, even at the cost of maybe a very strong backlash, did not step back from meeting that small need in the market, which means this company is the customer's company. This company essentially keeps the benefit or the need of the customer at the center of business, and not just the moolah in the business for that matter. Well, I think all that maybe that is actually gone in minds of the people, and you rightly said, continue to resonate with them. And every time that I think of ordering, Swiggy is the second partner that comes to your mind, that comes to my mind. Very rightly said, sir.
Yeah, so that's a positive spin that could have been given to this whole communication. So coming to that, then uh, I would, ask this question that the post-crisis or post-backlash, the communication that Zomato, Swiggy, and all they all just put out, uh, it was more like, they were kind of going on the defensive and rather, trying to make use of that situation and see the positive. So, do you think the response that they made was the right approach, or it could have been different? And how does it kind of affect the brand?
You know, well, these are new age brands, right? So these are not the Tatas and the Birlas. These are new age brands, and they attract a new kind of customer, the age group of 25 to 35. So these brands can take anything. The customer is going to be forgiving, and they are expected to make experiment. They're expected to fail, expected to fall flat on their face. Customer doesn't mind. The same thing if a highly respected established company does it, they will probably get a lot more negative. But these are
Right.
young companies. They're expected to try. They're expected to try all kinds of crazy things, and they're expected to succeed sometimes, fail sometimes. The evaluation is how agile are they? How quick are they? You
Hmm.
tweet, and this is the kind of company which will respond to your tweet within a few minutes, right? And I also know of certain companies which takes 14 days to respond to a tweet, right? These
Yes.
guys probably respond within 14 minutes. That's a difference.
Mhm.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mr. Ami. In fact, with so much of hyper competition out there, possibly I think the customer's memory is also pretty limited to the fact that I don't want to remember so much. It's okay. Something worked, something did not. And given that I've got multiple options available with me, vis-a-vis say about 10 years ago when there was only one company doing a particular business, to today when you have almost all forms of companies. When you talk about restaurant business, you used to have one restaurant in a 5 kilometer radius. Today you go to count that, there are countless restaurants. So I think it's more forgiving in nature, one. And secondly, since there is too much of competition out there, I don't really want to remember who did what. Maybe they did this time, maybe next time if they do something else which is maybe good, it sticks with me. So I think that's rightly put by you, sir. I mean, I think I completely agree with Mr. Ambi on that.
Right. My final question to both of you, is as a management student of marketing. I mean, if they were to manage a company like a Zomato or a Swiggy and all, and this would be what would be the key takeaways for them? What is the lesson learned from this?
Dr. Reja, do you want me to go?
Right, sir.
Okay,
Please
so
go
I
ahead.
think the lesson to learn is if you're working in a digital first young company, you got to look out for any opportunity to try something new. Okay. But the lesson could be before you put something out in the open, you may have to run some limited experiments to get a feedback on what works. And then finally, even if you run an experiment, the results are good, you roll it out, and then you get negative backlash, be ready to quickly measure the backlash. And if you think it's growing, withdraw and apologize. So do it quickly, do it fast, be what we call an agile marketer. Right? Don't say, oh, I've done this, I've seen there are 3, 4 tweets. Now let me wait for a few days. No, you may have to wait for a few hours. And then you say, oh, I'm taking a call. Let's call it off. Right? So be agile, be quick, be nimble on your marketing, especially if you're working for a digital native company. Over to you, Professor.
I think you said it. You nailed it. It's not only about digital first companies. I think all the companies today. I think important is that you got to become nimble, and they got to become really fast. They got to really, the turnaround times have reduced drastically for that matter. Let us understand the TATs are no more 28 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours. TATs have come down to 4 hours, 2 hours, and every the thought process has become instant. Let me tell you that. So today I do it now. I want it in very quick time. I want the output to be seen. So I think being flexible, being adaptable, being nimble, being agile, you use as many acronyms or as many adjectives as you can. That is what the management students can take away. One, they say that fail fast is what one should imbibe. I mean, there is a very beautiful term called intrapreneur, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this term. Entrepreneur to entrepreneur. The very fact that people thought of entrepreneurs within the organization and named them as intrapreneurs, I think it was this. They wanted people to inculcate this behavior of taking risk. Like an entrepreneur would in their own venture. They wanted people to become employees to become entrepreneurs within the organization and learn to take risk. And this is where I think very, very important for each of the employees going in, that I think although you may be working with a large or corporation or a small corporation, you in your own sense by no means less than an entrepreneur, because you control your KRAs. You are the one who's responsible for what you deliver out of it. So I think thinking like an entrepreneur within an organization is one big learning that the students, management students, or any set of people those who are starting the career should take along with them.
And basically, you should not be hesitating in fear of a backlash or something going or failing. You should not be hesitating to take that risk. You should go ahead, see to it, see if it works. I mean, if you don't experiment, you don't know what can be done, what is possible, what are the possibilities, and then be agile, fast, nimble, to just quickly roll back or make amends, without bringing your ego in front, like quickly sort of step in to solve the issue. So thank you so much, thank you very much, I mean, for this interesting, insightful conversation. So coming to the next part of our webinar, we would like to call upon the three top winners one by one. The first and the topper for this month's Zomato case study is Ajita Saraswat from IIM Sambalpur. So if Ajita is logged in, yeah, she is there. Ajita, welcome to this webinar and congratulations for winning as a topper for the Zomato case study.
Many congratulations,
You would like
Ajita.
to say something? Sorry.
I just said many congratulations to you, Ajita.
Ajita, I think you're on mute.
We'd love to hear from her.
Yes.
Hello, am I audible?
I think still very feeble. I think you need to turn the volume on a little bit, or maybe come closer to the device.
Better?
You're on mute.
Hello?
Yeah, this is better.
Better, yes.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, thank you so much. So I would like to share a bit of my experience. First of all, I would like to thank Business Standards for actually providing a platform for business students like me to actually brainstorm on real-time business problems. And when I actually read the Zomato case study, I found it very surprising. Like, as we call it as a smart company, which Mr. MB said us, how smart company, by going through a strategic decision to enhance certain segment of their customer, can actually turn into a backlash. So when I used to open a case study, every time I used to find my certain flaws in my answer, and I used to correct my answers every time. So then I understood it's nothing but a continuous improvement, and which most probably Zomato was doing. Furthermore, I would really like to thank Mr. MB for providing valuable insights on how Zomato, being a smart company, overestimated the power of vegetarian in our country. And of course, thank you so much, Professor Raheja, on providing insights on how could Zomato have simply handled the situation at operational level rather than creating the whole fleet for the vegetarians. At last, also, I'll like to appreciate the applications which I use for my day-to-day requirements as a business student. That is BSmart application, which I use to read news and quizzes. And guys, whoever is listening to me, please go ahead, and this application has really helped me. Maybe it can help you too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for providing the opportunity.
Thank you, Ajita. Thank you so much. Ajita wins a cash prize of rupees 5,000. Let's put our hands together for this. Next, I will call upon Rajshekhar Reddy from the School of Commerce and Management Studies, Dayanand Sagar University, Bangalore.
Hello, sir. I'm very much delighted to be here with such a resource persons like Ami.
Rajshekhar, your video is not on, I think.
Sir, there is something wrong with my PC, so I couldn't turn it on. Hello? Am I audible, sir?
Anyway, go on, Rajshekhar.
Yeah, I'm very much delighted to be here with such a resource persons like Ambi Parmeshwaran and Dr. Kumendra Raheja, sir. I felt this case study was very much interesting because Zomato thought this green pure veg fleet to serve the pure veg customers, satisfy them by delivering their food in a bag that was dedicated only for veg. But this backfired, and so many criticisms came on social media platforms, Twitter and Instagram. And within 24 hours, the CEO of Zomato took down this. He was very much fast in taking the response, and in this way, the case study, like some people had problem with their color bags. Some societies would not allow non-veg as if the CEO sir stopped this, and it shows the impact of social media as well. Giving us such an opportunity. Dayanand Sagar University.
Right, Rajshekhar, I think it's your network is getting dropped intermittently. But anyway, thank you, Rajshekhar, for joining us, and congratulations again for coming in the second position. He wins a cash prize of rupees 3,000. Next, I would call upon the third contestant who has secured the third position, Parul Arora from Chitkara University near Chandigarh, Punjab. Parul, congratulations and welcome to this webinar.
Thank you so much, sir, for the great opportunity. And yes, I would like to share my experience then while I was solving the case. Because Zomato is one, app which we daily use for ordering the food and enjoying everything. So that excited me a lot while solving the Zomato case study. And as Mr. Ambi sir said that, 90%, 95% of a total population is, non-vegetarian. And coming up with such ideas, they face backlash during that time. So yes, sir also mentioned at the end that lesson should be firstly they should trial then and then they should go for the public implementation, which was absolutely correct, sir. And Dr. Raheja sir also mentioned that they should be agile marketer and it's a digital native, companies should follow that. And being an entrepreneur, every company should also adhere to it. So I believe, yes, that case was really exciting. And, my analytical skill and strategic skills were used into solving the case. So thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. Your understandings have enriched my learning during the case and, while understanding the cases and lessons you shared right now with us. And a great thank to Business Standard for providing such opportunity for we business schools standard people. Like we can learn a lot, in this platform we get so many ideas, following the cases, solving the quizzes, and even polls also these days. So I'm very curious while opening the BSmart app always and updating myself with the real world problems going ahead. So I encourage all my fellow mates to join the app and utilize its resources very well because it is a very great platform to learn, to explore your skills in a better way. Because whenever we see a real case world studies, so it help us to solve it with our analytical thinkings in a better way so that we can understand the company's strategic. And in the end, the lessons I took from the Zomato case study was to be adaptive, be innovative, and be more customer centricity. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Parul. Thank you and congratulations again. She wins a cash prize of 1,000 rupees. Next, we come to the last phase of our webinar, where we will announce the new case study. This time, the new case study is on HR. It's about the gig workforce versus formal employment. Recently, there was a report saying that about 80% of people felt gig workers will overshadow traditional employees. So, our latest case study kind of deals with the point that is it a new paradigm shift for businesses? Will businesses of the future be anchored on gig workforce, or how how relevant would formal employment be for the future? So that is the next case study for May. Audience over here, please do attempt it and see how you fare. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining in and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anindam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ambi sir.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.